One day, I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.
Hello, I'm the Doctor.
Hey Who fans, coming at you from somewhere in space and time, this is the Big Blue Box Podcast. This is Gary.
And I'm Adam.
And this is episode 20. Happy birthday, Doctor Who's 51 years, buddy.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had a party popper or something I could just let off, because I feel like I need to, celebrate this somehow. 51 years, mate. Where's that last year gone?
Oh, it only feels, like yesterday that Day of the Doctor was out.
It really does. I just can't believe it's a year already. But yeah, happy birthday, Doctor Who.
The Hartnell speech.
Well, that's just brilliant.
How
I love
cool
it.
How cool is that?
I love it.
It's almost one of those speeches that, because I know that they referenced it at the very end of An Adventure in Space and Time, didn't they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And I tell you what, I just get goosebumps every time I hear that, and especially when I see the little video clip as well with him, with his thumbs on his lapels and looking up. It's magic.
It is. It's just Hartnell plays that whole scene beautifully. I think because he was actually so attached to Carol Ann Ford, judging from what I've read and also from watching Space Time. I think he actually became to actually think he was her grandfather, and he was so attached to her. I think there's a lot of real sentiment in his performance, I think. And it's such a great speech.
Yeah, it's great.
Goodbye, my dear. It's brilliant.
Goodbye. Yeah, so happy birthday then, Doc. You're right, the last year has just flown by.
It has, mate.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Day of the Doctor.
Day of the Doctor, yeah, because there was so much going on for the 50th last year. It seems to overspill as well into this year a little bit.
It has. I mean, it's felt like it's continued, and it almost feels that this feels a bit sort of we're on the 51st year, and there wasn't much on the TV about it, was there? Did I see that they re-showed Unearthly Child?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. I just wondered because I was at a convention and obviously they showed it there, but I wasn't sure if anything was actually on the TV to do with it. Because they used to sort of put things on BBC Three, didn't they, when there was sort of like an overflow or to celebrate it. But I didn't really see much this year. Compared to obviously the massive celebration that we had last year. Yeah,
it was huge.
Yeah.
So how you been, mate? What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been good. Well, I was at this timey-wimey convention last Sunday, which was obviously the 23rd, and they made a real big deal of the birthday, obviously, which was great. And they this was in aid of DAVS, which is domestic abuse volunteer support. So as well as being a great convention with lots of Doctor Who guests, it also was raising money for a really good charity.
Oh, cool.
Tom Baker was there. He did a great interview with Toby Haydock. Man, that guy has got some stories.
Yeah.
He is so entertaining. It was brilliant. He was first on, actually. We got him, excuse me, we got our welcome pack straight into the hall. There was a big TARDIS at the end of the stage, full-size one. On comes Tom. Yeah, did about an hour just talking through some anecdotes, and then we were off to get some autographs signed. Got a picture with Tom. It was a great day, but it did feel like a celebration. I mean, Louise Jameson was responsible for a big part of organising it, and she really it's the first one they've done, first one that she's organised with all these other people, and she really wanted it to be a success, and it was brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Really cool.
Yeah. Trying to think who else was there. Sophie Aldred was there. She's lovely.
Oh, cool.
Louise Jameson obviously was there. John Leeson, K9. Do your impression. You're good at K9.
Affirmative.
that was across between K9 and a very sort of half sleep Dalek.
Oh, it was. It wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, very good, mate. Yeah. Who else was there? Oh, Deborah Watley. Zoe, and somebody else who I'm forgetting. Sarah Sutton, who played Nissa. She was there as well.
Oh, okay,
and,
cool.
She was lovely, and Yeah, I met her at the 50th, and poor woman, I made her jump out of her skin because she was in the hotel, and I appeared from behind a seat and asked her for a photo, and she wasn't best pleased. Um, so I'm glad to say that she was much happier this time round, and she really was lovely, actually. So
Cool.
yeah, it was a great day, mate. Really cool. So that's how I celebrated the 51st birthday of Doctor Who with lots of fellow Who fans. A little bit disappointed that there was only a few dressed up. I expected more. Not that I'm one to talk. I only had my season 18 scarf on, to be fair, so I did a bit of a half-hearted effort from me. But I thought everyone would be dressed up, mate, and there was a handful at the most.
Disappoint. Actually, those smaller conventions, especially for the classic stuff, they don't really get as many cosplayers over there, do they?
No, they don't go for it. No. There was an American woman who was dressed up as Tom Baker who had really gone for it. She was nice. We were chatting to her in the queue. She'd got this awesome, laminated picture, which is off of an arcade game of all the Doctors. Really unusual thing, and she'd got it signed by all the Doctors apart from Tom.
Right.
And he wasn't signing autographs because you actually got an autograph of his in the welcome pack. Mm-hmm. So because obviously he didn't want to. He's getting a little frail, bless him. So he didn't really want to sort of go for all the autographs. So you actually got a personal signed autograph from him in your pack. But when he saw it, she was in front of me in the queue. He did sign. He actually asked to sign it because it was really cool. So she was made up. I think it's fair to say.
Oh, bless.
Yeah.
Bless
so
her.
how did you celebrate it, mate? What were you doing for the 51st?
Well, I just on Sunday, the 23rd. I must admit, I did put on a couple of classics.
You did?
Yes. Obviously, the first one, An Unearthly Child.
Did you watch it all the way through?
Nope.
No. I always struggle with past episode 1, I have to admit. It's been a while since I've even attempted to watch it. I mean, it's probably not as bad as I remember, because I absolutely love the first episode. It's brilliant. But as soon as we get to the caveman bit, I struggle.
Yeah.
But I'll have to give it another go, because it's some time since I actually sat down to watch it all the way through. So I'll do that one day.
Yeah, I watched the first episode because I thought,
Brilliant.
in my own way, I'll stick to some kind of tradition. Is that the right word? Tradition? I'm not sure. It's Doctor Who's birthday. I'll stick on a classic. Let's go with the first one. I watched the first episode, and that was me done.
Just out of interest, have you watched the pilot that's on the DVD? Because I actually love the pilot.
The
TARDIS looks all clean. It's just totally fresh, and I love the pilot. And Hartnell's a bit more sinister in it, isn't he? He's a bit more crazy.
Yeah.
I just love the pilot.
Yeah.
I don't know why they reshot it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you can see why they reshot it from his point of view. He was a bit dark. He was a little bit.
And I suppose there's a few more clunks and the doors getting stuck and that sort of thing. So yeah, I suppose from a technical side, it could have been better.
Yeah.
But I love it.
It's cool though.
Brilliant. So what other classics did you watch after that?
The Seeds of Doom.
You didn't?
One of your faves.
It's one of my faves. Did you watch all 6?
I did.
Oh, what a story.
It's amazing.
We've got to review that on a future pod. I love that story.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that. Shall we do one of your faves as a...
Yeah, the problem is I'll just be gushing about it, because the thing with Seeds of Doom is I think it's as close to perfection. I probably should... I'm already reviewing it, but there's very little negative I can say about that story. If anything, I think that's one of the best. Yeah, but we will do it because it's good. Chase, is that the character? Is that the villain, Mr. Chase?
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, brilliant.
Very cool. Didn't do much else other than that. I was in London, nipped into Forbidden Planet.
Oh yeah.
Just to see what stuff they had there, Who-wise. Their range is getting a bit lackluster in there. I'm talking about the London Superstore one. Yeah.
Oh right.
They seem to have the same stuff in there that isn't selling. There isn't much new Who stuff in there.
No, funny you say that. Actually, the last time I went up, it was kind of the same stuff. Stuff that I sort of picked up and thought, no, I'll get that another time, and not bought, and it's sort of still there. And
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's because character haven't done much classic stuff recently or what, but yeah. But you were saying you picked up a couple of T-shirts, is that right? Some funky T-shirts?
Yeah, I got a couple of T-shirts. I saw one that you were wearing in one of your video reviews over at the Geeks Handbag.
I wondered if you'd got it.
Yes, the white one with the TARDIS in like the inky, smudgy kind of effect.
I like that.
Yeah, very cool. And I got a similar one, which is It's like a load of Daleks flying through the air in the same style.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
looks
cool.
quite cool. And I've got some more comics as well. I think I need to slow down on the Doctor Who comics because I haven't bloody read any of them yet.
Which ones did you buy? The 12th
Yeah,
Doctor.
I've got them here.
I love the Time comics actually, and I'm the same as you. I've actually got loads to catch up on, but they're great.
Yeah, I think, do you know what, it's just they release so many variant covers.
Oh,
The
variants.
completist in me was like, I've got to have them, but I did restrict myself to a few.
It's endless variants, and just when you think you've got them all,
Yeah.
they go and find another load. They're like, yeah, this is a Comic Con exclusive, and this is an exclusive from the from the toilet at Wales. And, there's so many blimmin' variants. It's impossible.
There is, yeah. I mean, I've got the 10th Doctor ones. I've got the #1 Comic-Con variant. There's that one. I've got another #1. This is the cover C, the photo of him, which is like leaning his head over.
This is the 12th Doctor. No, 10th.
10th, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Then I've got #2. This is the cover A, which is the Zhang artist guy, like the illustration. That's really cool. #3, which is the cover A, which is a Verity Glass version. #4, Verity Glass, awesome. 11th Doctor, version 1, cover C, which is the photo of Matt Smith. #1, which is in the cupboard, is another variant. Issue #2, Zhang. Issue 3, Verity Glass. And then issue 4, which is Verity Glass.
And these are all just for the same issue, but I mean the first lot.
Yeah, and then picked up Capaldi, #1, cover A, which is Zhang. Got #2, which is cover A, which is the Coal Hill School. Pink Floyd kind of vibe. And I saw a load of covers in there as well, which haven't... There's a guy that was in Forbidden Planet last month signing a load of them. They had like 50 of them on the shelf. There was another guy that was signing them. There was another variant. And I just thought, I'm going to be out of... If I buy all of these different variants, I'll be out of pocket.
And do you know what? It's amazing how quickly it adds up, because I've done that, because they're like, what are they, $3.49 each, aren't they, or something like that?
Yeah.
And you think, that doesn't sound a lot. And you sort of pick up 10, and it's suddenly like, whoa, what's going... it quickly adds up when you buy these variants.
Yeah.
But how good does Peter Capaldi look on... I mean, I saw him on the front of the annual the other day. He is the Doctor, isn't he? I love seeing him on the front of these comics. Something about this 12th Doctor, I just love seeing images of him.
He looks cool. Yeah.
He just looks cool. I love it.
Yeah, he looks awesome.
Yeah, man.
The Doctor in every respect.
I paid well over the odds for the annual the other day. I knew I would, because annuals always come down really quickly in price. And they had it in Waterstones or something. It was buy one, get one half price. I didn't want another one. I just wanted the 12th Doctor. And I thought, I'll go to the supermarket. It'll probably be like £4 in there. They didn't have it in the supermarket. I wanted it, so I went back and bought it full price, $7.99, which is ridiculous. I know. I kept saying to, even when I was in the queue, I was thinking, don't get it now. You'll see it everywhere. But I wanted to buy it, so I got it. Just because I loved seeing Capaldi on the front of an annual.
Yes.
And of course, it's everywhere now for like $3.99. But but yeah, so cool. I just think he just looks such a dude.
He does look like...
I'm loving it.
He looks great, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Still got to get myself a 12th Doctor coat one day.
One day. The BBC will bring one out at some point.
Yeah, that's right. I'll wait for the BBC to release an overpriced... You always say the bad quality, don't you?
Well, I don't think they're always bad.
It's shoddy.
The 10th Doctor coat looked like some crazy light brown, stupid... I don't know why they brought it out. It doesn't look anything like the 10th Doctor's actual coat. I don't know.
No.
Yeah. So we've had a crazy week with ups and downs, collectibles, comics.
Yeah, lots of money spent.
Or bloody hell. We need to slow down until after Crimbo.
We should be asking... I was thinking we should be asking for these things for Christmas. I always do that. I buy everything. And then my mum and dad will be like, what do you want for Christmas? And I'll be thinking, why didn't I ask for these for Christmas? Why did I buy them? I could have got you to buy them.
Exactly.
And I can never think of anything. I'm like, I don't know. I can't think of anything now. But yeah.
The Doctor Who problems. The problems of a Doctor Who fan.
Oh, mate. Somebody somewhere is making a lot of money and it isn't me.
Yeah, it's definitely not us,
Some big fat cat at the BBC.
Yeah. Should we do the news?
Go for it. What's in the news this week then, mate?
Well, we're going to land this thing first.
Oh, yeah, go on then. That's getting ahead of myself.
was going to say, we can't, until we've landed, we can't do the news, can we?
Oh yeah, it's still in flight. What was I thinking?
The news, buddy. Right, so, well, we've already discussed at length the first bit of news, which was the 51st celebration of Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
Happy B-Day. Happy B-Day, happy Who Day.
Happy Doctor Who Day.
Is there a name for that officially anywhere? Is it like Happy Who Day? Or is it just Happy Birthday, Doctor Who?
I'm trying to think of a clever way of putting it, but I can't. So I'm just going to say Happy Birthday, Doctor Who.
Happy
I'm
birthday.
sure somebody. We should have a competition actually, so next year, to see who can come up with a catchier way of saying it.
Yeah. So 23rd of November 1963. Precisely, I can't believe they still know this. At precisely 5:16 p.m.
5:16 p.m. Right.
5:16 p.m., which is a very strange thing to log and remember, because you just say it around 5 o'clock on the 23rd of November 1963. Yeah. So Unearthly Child went out, and if you guys have watched the very cool Adventure in Space and Time. Or if you were alive back then, I'm guessing there's still plenty of Who fans that are still alive.
Oh yeah.
Then you'll realise how amazing it was, and how much we owe to that first episode and Mr. Hartnell.
Definitely, I think we owe Hartnell. You know, I think Hartnell gets a bit of a bad time. Actually, I've seen a few people sort of saying, you know, he's the worst Doctor and all that. You know, about Hartnell, you know, I know obviously like other people carried on the legend, but mate, Hartnell started it. He was the Doctor. If he hadn't made a success of it, it wouldn't be still here today.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
Obviously there's other factors in there. The Daleks obviously really kick-started it and everything, but I really rate Hartnell. I like him.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a terrible. He's not. You know, he doesn't rank very highly usually, does he? In terms of.
That's what I mean.
You
No,
know.
in fact, I saw some awful video on YouTube the other day. A so-called Doctor Who fan really slagging off Hartnell. I was thinking, mate, you know, even if you don't like his performance as Doctor, give the guy credit.
Yeah,
you know?
I think I saw that video this morning. You know,
really?
I think it was called "Why Will Hartnell is the worst Doctor."
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
And the guy in it's really annoying, isn't
yeah. Stupid Doctor Who fan.
Silly. I mean, I'm all for people having their own opinion, but you got to give Hartnell credit. You know.
Absolutely, and he's done some cracking episodes as well.
Oh, definitely. There's
Yeah.
some great stuff. Yeah.
And I don't think that he does get enough credit. I think he's often forgotten. I think when people talk about classic Doctor Who and they go back to the classic years and so on, I think a lot of conversation is always around Tom Baker, Patrick Troughton, and some other people. And I think he gets forgotten quite a lot. I mean, John Pertwee gets referenced a little bit as well. But whenever you hear people talking about classic Who, very rarely do they go back as far as Hartnell, which is a shame.
Yeah, I think Hartnell and Pertwee possibly the two that get overlooked the most. I think.
Yeah.
And I love the Hartnell team. You know, I think Barbara and Ian and Susan, but the Doctor. I think they're a great TARDIS team. You know, even in some of the sort of not so good stories, they still give a good performance. They're quite interesting TARDIS team. So yeah, respect to Hartnell.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I really do like about that first episode and that first series really was the writers took a real big chance with it. And what I mean by that is they didn't have a proper origin story to begin with. You know what I mean? Nobody knew who the Doctor was, where he came from, and it was like almost it was exactly like that. He'd already been travelling for a long time, and he already had this huge backstory about Gallifrey and the Time Lords, and you also introduced immediately to things like the TARDIS and all that kind of stuff. And what I loved about it was TV then back in the day was very rudimentary and very everything had to be explained, quite explicitly for the viewer to get on board with it. Whereas with Doctor Who, you were just plopped into this already ongoing story, and that was a real big chance for those guys. And I love that. I love it.
Sort of finding their feet as they went along, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I was thinking actually, having rewatched An Earthly Child on Sunday, it's funny how the whole thing is the Doctor going mad because these two school teachers enter the TARDIS and they've seen it and they'll tell everyone, and so he, takes off and it all kicks off. And I was thinking, when you compare that to sort of the later years, Peter Davison's sort of Doctor, for example, just inviting everybody who, come in, come and have a drink. Everybody used to enter the TARDIS, so it's a very different sort of show back then. And like I said, there's all sorts going on, and over the years they just kind of found their feet, didn't they? I mean, I don't know when Gallifrey was first mentioned or brought in, possibly the War Games, or someone will correct me out there, but yeah, over the years the sort of mythos of the character changed, didn't it, slightly? Sure. And they felt, like you said, they started to build on the backstory, which they didn't do a lot in the Heart of the Years. So I think it didn't really explore much of the sort of Doctor's background much.
Mm-hmm. What a scene though with that first confrontation with the Doctor. Oh
no, I just love it. Isn't he mean? Electrocuting people on the console, and I just love it.
Yeah, I really do love that first interaction with the Doctor. Check this out.
Excuse me. What are you doing here?
We're looking for a girl.
We?
Well, good evening.
What do you want?
One of our pupils, Susan Foreman, came into this yard.
Really? In here? Are you sure?
Yes. We saw her from across the street.
One of their pupils, not the police then.
I beg your pardon?
Why were you spying on her? Who are you?
We heard a young girl's voice call out to you.
Your hearing must be very acute. I didn't hear anything.
It came from in here.
You imagined it?
I certainly did not imagine it.
Young man, is it reasonable to suppose that anybody would be inside a cupboard like that?
Would it therefore be unreasonable to ask you to let us have a look inside?
I wonder why I've never seen that before. Now, isn't that strange? Pretty damp and dirty.
Won't you help us? We're two of her teachers from the Coal Hill School. We saw her come in and we haven't seen her leave. Naturally, we're worried.
Have to be clean. Oh, I'm afraid it's none of my business. I suggest you leave here.
How cool is that?
Brilliant. Just so dismissive.
Yeah, I love those. Just the way he's like,
And he's so he's almost quite sexist, isn't he? He just pulls Ian to one side as if he's going to, he totally discards poor Barbara, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was a different time, wasn't it? A totally different.
Oh yeah.
So
all I can hear is that tune in my head of Susan's radio. Doon, 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 doon. I just even hearing that clip, I could just hear that.
Yeah.
And why does she? Yeah, she's in there all that time, and she sort of her hearing is quite selective because she suddenly decides to come out, doesn't she? Not come out, but the door sort of opens a little bit. What are you doing out there? It's just a bit crazy. I wish in the pilot, when Barbara enters the TARDIS, it's done so much better than actually in the transmitted version, isn't it? You actually see her go through the door, and yet it's in the actual transmitted one. It's sort of a jump cut, I guess, for timing reasons or whatever. But I always think it's such a shame that they couldn't have used that bit because it's so much better in the pilot.
Yeah, even for its time, it looks. It must have looked like, wow, this is, because they had a tiny budget, didn't they? So they had to kind of deal with what they had, But it did look so good.
It is cool, and I love the fact it all started in a junkyard. Something about that fascinated me when I first saw this episode. I just love the creepiness of the junkyard with these weird mannequins with half-smashed faces, and it's really mysterious. And what was the Doctor doing there? Or what, sending Susan to school? And it's fascinating.
Yeah, and of course now we're back at Coal Hill School, aren't we? With series 9.
Yes, that's right.
Series 8. Sorry.
Series 8. Yes, we're back. Yeah,
full
makes
circle.
you wonder actually if Jenna does leave at Christmas, because she's sort of been central to the whole Coal Hill School, hasn't she? So will that be the end of it, I wonder? Which is a shame, actually, because it's been nice to go back, and I really wish we'd seen Ian Chesterton. That was a missed opportunity for me.
Yeah.
Not seeing Ian in, what was it called? The Caretaker.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't like Gareth Roberts' reason for not including him either. I thought it was he said it would be too messy, too jumbled up or something to include him. Nonsense. Get him in there. I didn't buy that at all.
Right.
People were baying for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
nice one, Gareth.
Yeah, nice one, Gareth. I do like Gareth actually. I've met him, because a lovely bloke, but I didn't like his reasonings for not including.
We're going to be reviewing one of his episodes in a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we will.
Yeah. So next bit. So before we go on, happy birthday. we have to recognise that it's a
Happy
big thing.
birthday. Making the most of this new microphone, guys. I'm giving you some of my silky vocals.
So it is a big deal every
It
time.
is.
Yeah. So
Next year will be the 10-year.
yes, it will, won't
Is that
it?
right? Which apparently the BBC aren't celebrating, but we'll be celebrating, won't we, mate?
Of course, mate.
We'll be doing something. Don't know what, but we'll
Yep.
do something.
Yeah. I'm not sure what, but
No, we'll have a party popper at the very least,
at the very least, yeah.
and a cake.
Maybe we'll get Chris Eccleston on.
Yeah, that would be a scoop.
I'm the Doctor, by the way.
Yeah, is he here?
Is he here?
Oh, I thought that was him. No, now if you can pull that one off, we are in business.
Adam, Gary, you were fantastic. And you know what? So was I.
That sounds like Ringo Starr.
The Ninth Doctor there. The Ninth Doctor on the drums.
People only tune into these podcasts for your brilliant impressions.
For my terrible impression, so you mean?
No, brilliant.
So yeah, okay. Let's leave it there. Happy birthday.
Okay, so
Yeah. Next bit of news. The Christmas special. Coming up in 27 days.
oh, really?
Yep.
Better get Christmas shopping.
27 days. So we got a title now.
Yeah, I'm not going to sing this one though.
Oh, you know, okay. Last. Come on.
Okay. Din 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 din. That enthusiasm kind of sums up my reaction to this title because I think it's dull as dishwater. So it's called Last Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we got a promo image for it of Superman. The Doctor stood in the middle of Clara and Santa.
Why don't you like it? Why don't you like the title?
I just think it's really uninspiring. I hope it has some sort of meaning. I mean, the only thing I can gain sort of from it is that it might mean, it's the Doctor's last Christmas with Clara, blah, blah, blah. But Last Christmas, it's just so boring, Give me, like, Attack of the Spiders or the Android Invasion. Or give me something exciting. Last Christmas. No.
Attack of the Elves.
Yeah, even that is better. I have to say, my expectations are quite low for this special,
Right.
so I hope it's good.
Okay.
I hope I'm proved 100% wrong because I want it to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, having seen that little clip on Children Need, having heard the title of it, having seen the promo, I'm not saying it's going to be bad, but I'm not expecting big things from this Christmas special, and I genuinely hope I'm proved completely wrong. I hope it's brilliant.
Well, synopsis is thus.
Oh dear. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah. The Doctor and Clara face their last Christmas, trapped on an Arctic base, under attack from terrifying creatures. Who are you going to call? Santa Claus.
Well, I like it up until the last sentence.
Yes.
It actually sounds quite good. I like the sound of the siege base and all that. That sounds pretty cool. And actually, I loved that clip we saw of the creature's mouths opening, like the alien.
Yep.
That looked cool.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be the Sea Devils, maybe? That would be nice. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It sounds all right. I mean, the whole Santa thing, But,
Yeah. I want it to be great for two reasons. One, because they mentioned that they're trapped on an Arctic base, that's got Seeds of Doom vibe for me.
yeah, good shout.
Which could be cool. And secondly, I really want Nick Frost to be good.
Yeah, because I love Nick Frost.
Yeah.
Absolutely love Nick Frost, yeah. And I get the feeling he's going to be a slightly evil Santa, don't you, from that little preview clip?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a bit more menacing as Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm giving myself a slapped wrist at this end of the mic. Perhaps I'm being too down on it. As I said, I really am. I'm looking forward to it, don't get me wrong. I don't have a lot of faith in Moffat Christmas specials, I think is what it is. I've only really enjoyed the snowmen.
Yeah.
And I like the Tennant specials, but of course they were RTD. But I haven't really enjoyed many of the Moffat Christmas specials. I've got to be honest.
Okay.
So I think that's why I'm just sort of keeping my expectations at bay. I'm just hoping it'll be good.
Yeah. Dan Starkey's back, but not as Strax.
Yeah, I think that's quite cool actually.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Good to see him out of his costume and playing an elf. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Santa's
I like
Helpers.
that. Santa's Helper. Yeah, great stuff.
Sure.
I like that.
I do agree with you to Last Christmas. It does sound a bit bland, a little bit non-inviting.
Yeah.
For sure.
some of the guys in a Doctor Who chat I was in, literally they refused to believe that was the title when it was announced, and like somebody put it in straight away in the chat. They were like, "It's called Last Christmas," and for about 2 or 3 minutes after it, everyone was going, "No, come on, no, it's not. What's it really called?" And like, no, that is what it's called. And they were like, "Yeah, seriously, what is it called?" And they just wouldn't believe it because they thought it was that. They're like, "Really?" You know, it's not a bad title, but it's just uninspiring, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, just doesn't say much. But hey, it could have a greater meaning. Who knows?
It could
Who knows
be.
what goes on in that giant brain of the moth?
Yeah, it could reference Clara's last Crimbo.
Well, I mean, I think that's why he's put it in there, isn't it? To, you know, I think that's what it's about. I assume to make you think that, even if it's not that.
Who knows?
Who knows what goes
Last
on?
Christmas, or it could be the last Christmas in history kind of thing. It could be a end of the world kind of setup.
Isn't it sort of all about dreams and stuff? So did I read somewhere? It's all about if dreams were real. I think the Moffat said.
I haven't read that. Yep.
Yeah, it was at the Series 8 launch or something.
Right.
He gave away a little. He said if dreams are real, it's sort of to do with that concept. I think, but don't quote me on it. Yeah, I think that's what it's
Right. Okay.
part of it.
Cool.
Which that sounds a bit more interesting.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll look forward to that one then. 27 days.
No, I will.
Yeah.
I sorry to be down, listeners. I'm not. I obviously looking forward to it. I shall be there with my glass of port, Christmas turkey in front of me, and I will be loving it. But yeah, I just hope it's good.
I've got an image in my head of you on the sofa, feet up, like
Yeah.
you say, with a glass of port, but you've got your Fourth Doctor scarf on, dressing gown, hat.
A slightly skewiff hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. A half-pulled cracker and some Christmas pudding, just nicely, sitting on the scarf where I spilt it down me earlier on, having not noticed it.
Yeah. You
that'd
just
be me.
wrecked.
Absolutely. I'll be wrecked. I mean, I'm assuming it'll be on about 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'll be well gone by then. In fact, last year, Time of the Doctor, in fact, this is the thing. I probably won't even get to really watch it properly until either very late in the evening when I come home, and I'll have to, because I'll be with loads of family and I can never hear it on Christmas Day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I won't even be able to watch it when it goes. I'll probably watch it when it goes out, but I won't be able to hear a word of it. So it'll be when I get in, I'll actually sit down and watch it, and then I'll have to watch it again the following day when I'm actually sober, because that's what happened last time with Time of the Doctor. I came in, I'd sat with all the family and sort of seen bits of it, couldn't understand what was going on. And obviously couldn't hear it. Came in absolutely plastered. Right, I'm watching Doctor Who. I don't care if it's midnight. TV on. Watched it. Couldn't understand it because I was drunk, and also it was a Moffat script. And then I watched it 2 days later, and finally, that was probably the first time I actually could sit down and actually watch it properly. And I didn't mind Time of the Doctor, but I didn't think it was a brilliant send off for Matt. But I thought, when I first watched it, I thought it was just because I was drunk. I thought, well, of course I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't understand it. But even watching it sober, I thought it was all right, but it wasn't great. I didn't think Time of the Doctor.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't mind it. Quite
all
like
right.
watching it on Crimbo, but it's okay.
I thought Matt was phenomenal in it. That's the one thing that stands out in my mind.
He was cool. Yeah.
He gave a really great performance. I remember that. Yeah. I need to watch. I need to give that another watch actually. Because again, I've only really watched it once sober, so yeah, I'll give that another watch, maybe at Christmas.
Yeah, if this one is it turns out to be pretty poor, you could just put that one on, and it could
Back
be
that.
just a little bit not as poor.
Yeah, it was okay. Yeah, I remember liking it, but I wanted it to be really, something special for Matt's last episode.
Yeah.
It didn't quite reach the heights.
I'll read you.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll be Christmas Day.
Crimbo Day. So that's the news done.
Yeah.
Shall we do our review?
Shall we do the review?
Unicorn and the wasp.
Yeah, I've gone a bit Dalek now. I'm not sure what that was. Drunken Dalek.
Drunken Daleks.
Dalek on port.
Let's
do the review.
Goodness!
Bashed on the head. Blunt instrument. Watch broke as he fell. Time of death was 4:15.
Bit of pipe. Call me Hercule Poirot, but I reckon that's blunt enough.
Worth killing for that long. all dry as dust.
Hold on. The body in the library. I mean, Professor Peach in the library with the lead piping.
Let me see.
Up to my ways!
Gerald!
Flee!
Someone should call the police.
You don't have to. Chief Inspector Smith from Scotland Yard, known as the Doctor. Miss Noble is the plucky young girl who helps me out.
I see.
Mrs. Christie was right. Go into the sitting room. I will question each of you in turn.
Come along, do as the doctor says. Leave the room undisturbed.
The plucky young girl who helps me out.
No policewomen in 1926.
I'll pluck you in a minute. Why don't we phone the real police?
Oh, the last thing I want is PC Plod sticking his nose in. Especially now I've found this.
Hey.
Hey,
Unicorn.
and the Wasp.
Yeah.
Written by Gareth Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Graham Harper.
Okay, yep.
Which I had completely forgotten. Well, the Graham Harper, I knew it was written by Gareth Roberts. So when Graham Harper came up on the screen, I was like, really? I didn't remember that. The reason I suggested we do this one, Gary, is because up until yesterday, I'd only watched it once, and that was when it first went out.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it as a story that and I think a lot of other people just overlook. I sort of forget about it. And it suddenly occurred to me the other day, I was thinking, I've never rewatched that one. I don't remember much about it. I don't remember whether I liked it, didn't like it. I just remember thinking it was, just nothing. Just that it was just a nothing story.
Right.
And so I thought, right, I really want to watch this one again, give it a second viewing, and see why. Why is it one that I don't go back to? Is it really bad?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really good? Is it one that I've forgotten about? So that's why I suggested it, because it was just one that I'd watched once when it went out, never gone back to, and I rewatched it yesterday.
Yeah, I'm glad you suggested this one because I kind of feel the same. It's one of those episodes where I've heard people talk about it before, and they really don't like it. A lot of people. I'm not sure if it's the story or just the predictability. I'm not sure, but it kind of divides opinion quite a lot. But I really like it. I think it's a really good story, and it's one of those nice self-contained Who stories which you don't have to concentrate on too hard. You can just stick it on. If you've got a couple of hours spare, you stick it on and then just enjoy. It's just got so many funny parts to it.
There's a lot of humour in it. Yeah,
it's nothing too menacing or threatening, and it's got that really nice kind of Sunday afternoon whodunit kind of vibe. And it's really. I'm glad you suggested this one because it's very cool. And Graham Harper, Graham Harper. Let's do a high five for him because
definitely
Caves,
yeah.
Revelation of the Daleks,
yeah.
And then he's done some really cool newer Who stuff as well, like Utopia.
Oh, brilliant episode, yeah.
In fact, he's done some of the best ones from the RTD era. We've got Utopia, Turn Left, The Waters of Mars, and Planet of the Ood. That's okay. He's done some amazing Doctor Who stories. So he's got a particular style as well. This one, you can tell as well. It looks very cool, and Gareth Roberts as a writer. So this is a really cool. And what did you think of the overall story then? Just sitting down watching it from beginning to end. What do you reckon?
Well, first off, I got to agree straight away. One of the things I loved about it was that the Doctor and Donna, they just arrive in a situation, in an adventure, and we're off. There's no sort of relationship woes or cutting back to this and that. It was just a straightforward, fun adventure.
Yeah.
And I liked that, and it was really refreshing. As much as I love Series 8, it was really refreshing to go back and watch some of the earlier series and just see this style of just going straight into it. And my initial reaction, obviously, when I first watched it, or whenever it was, what year was it? 2006 or 7? No,
2008.
2008, right? Okay,
yeah.
That's the last time I watched it. Was the first time I had.
Oh well.
Yeah, my initial reaction, it just didn't leave any impression on me. So I sat down yesterday, put it on with a totally sort of blank canvas. Right, let's just watch it. I really enjoyed it. I thought, it nipped along at a really good pace.
Mm-hmm.
And what really makes it for me is that everybody in it looks like they're having fun. Tennant and Tate together just are brilliant in this episode. There is lots of humour in it. I think that's one of the things that maybe I didn't like back in 2008. I quite liked my Doctor Who to be dark and serious, and I think this is a very light-hearted episode. And I think at the time it probably jarred with me a bit, especially at the beginning, because everyone's doing very jolly-ho accents that slightly grated on me back then, and still did a little bit now. But I think, given it a second watch, I could just enjoy it for what it was, which was a nice, light-hearted adventure. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I agree. It was when I first watched it, I didn't watch it when it first aired, because, believe it or not, I wasn't into Doctor Who that much when it first aired.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's been robotised since, ladies and gentlemen. So.
Yes, and because I got into Doctor Who maybe a year or two after that. And
what was your first ep again? Just remind me.
Sorry, my first
episode?
My very first episode was...
it 11th Hour?
No, it was the one after that, I think.
Oh, Beast Below?
Yeah, I think so.
Good God, what a story to come on board on.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that one.
Yeah, we will do, yeah. So, so I was... obviously, I missed the initial broadcast, but when I started to go through... When I got into Doctor Who, and after I watched as soon as I started watching a few of the Matt Smith ones from... It was either the 11th Hour or Beast Below. I thought, this is the programme for me. So I immediately just ordered, I think I ordered the first 3 or 4 box sets.
Oh, cool.
So I went back to Eccleston and started going through that. And when I got to this one, I think I was the same as you at the time. I thought, this is okay. It's got some kind of campy, kind of silly humour to it.
Yeah.
And I dismissed it, but when I started watching through from the Eccleston's series, when I was watching them with my wife, she wasn't really too keen on Billie Piper.
Oh, right.
And yeah, because she wasn't really too fussed about. She's got this attitude that a lot of Who fans have got about they're not really into the Doctor having relationships with a companion.
Right. Yeah.
So she wasn't. She just viewed Rose as like a whiny, all the crying all the time. It just wasn't enjoyable to watch for her. But when Donna Noble, a few years later, when Donna Noble arrived on the scene, she really liked her, and she really liked the chemistry between her and David Tennant. And it was my wife wanting to watch this one again because she really liked it. That's made me want to, I've had to sit through it a few times.
Yeah.
And each time that I've watched it, I've enjoyed it more and more. And now, when you suggested, we should do it, I was like, yeah, because this is a really cool one that's often overlooked.
Yeah.
And I agree with you 100%. The chemistry between Tennant and Tate is just brilliant.
Yeah.
It really is just so good to watch because they've done a lot of work together outside of Doctor Who as well. And they just so naturally fit well together on screen, especially as the Doctor. He's got this... Because Catherine Tate's a bit of a southern UK girl. She's a bit of a London, that kind of vibe. And when David Tennant does his Doctor Who character, where he's a very much a kind of... not a Cockney, but like a London barrow boy kind of vibe.
Mockney,
they just fit so well together. And that's one of the things that I love the most about this episode.
Yeah, I think it looks like they're having a ball. I mean, it really comes across that they genuinely seem to sort of like each other. I mean, the scene where the Doctor gets poisoned and she has to give him all these different things like, what is it, walnuts and salt, and you can actually, if you watch Tennant in that, he looks like he's dying to laugh. He looks like he's laughing basically.
Yeah.
And then obviously she gives him a big smacker, a big kiss on at the end of it and stuff. But if you watch that scene.
Yeah.
Tennant is trying to obviously act like he's been poisoned, but he looks like he's laughing. You know what I mean? He just looks like, I'm trying not to swear. You know what I'm thinking in my head. He looks like he's being himself, basically.
Absolutely.
And they just look like they're having so much fun doing it. And we've got some great guest actors in this episode as well, which I'd completely forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
Felicity Kendall, I think, gives a really... They all seem to be taking it seriously. Although they're having fun and they're delivering some quite sort of humorous lines, I do think all the cast, give a good performance. There wasn't anyone in there that sort of makes me groan.
Yeah. Is that Lady Edison, Felicity Kendall?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought she was good. We've got Christopher Benjamin, who we last saw in Talon Yang playing the Colonel.
Yes.
Completely forgot he was in it.
I did as well. Yeah.
A great performance from him. And the lady playing Agatha Christie, I had to look up her name because she's one of those actresses you know the face, but I just couldn't think of her name. She's called Fenella Woolgar.
Yeah.
And again, I thought she was great as Agatha Christie. I don't know what Agatha Christie was like in real life, I have to be honest, but I found her convincing as Agatha Christie. And they just all look like, A, they're having fun, and B, they're all giving a good performance. Nobody's hamming it up too much, particularly. It all worked for me. I can see. I know, like you said, this episode gets a lot of negativity towards it, and I can sort of see why certain fans, wouldn't enjoy it. I think perhaps that goes back to sort of how I viewed it back in 2008, because I think sometimes it's just not the sort of episode you're in the mood for.
Yeah.
And this goes back to what you just said. If I put this on a Sunday afternoon, brilliant. I'd love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to touch on what you said about the actors within this having a real ball, it's kind of one of the things that I didn't really pick up on at first, not until the last couple of times I watched it. But I like going on this journey. I like being taken on this journey with the Doctor and his companion, because it's almost like they do this quite well in certain Doctor Who episodes where you're plonked in a situation with the Doctor, and it's almost like stuff is happening around you along with the Doctor, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because there are some episodes where you're very much an external viewer and you're observing what's going on in particular episodes. But with this one, it's like you're on the journey as well, because everything is unfolding throughout the episode, which is really cool. Because like you said earlier, there's no timey-wimey stuff that connects to other episodes, and it gets a bit messy. And there's no there's no external stuff. There's no noise going on. It's just you and the Doctor and Donna in the story, and you're going through it with them, because they know who Agatha Christie is. Because obviously at the time, all the other characters, they have absolutely no way of knowing how successful she's going to be in the future, whereas the Doctor and Donna and you as the viewer, you know exactly who she is. And I love all the references throughout as well, like when in certain scenes where the way that somebody's been killed, Agatha Christie will say something a certain way, and you think, oh, that's the title of one of her books.
Yes.
And as they go through the episode, they reveal all these little snippets of her career, all of her books. And it's just so well, this is one of Gareth Roberts' most brilliant scripts to me, because there are so many little things in there that he's included, and so many little nods to other things. Yeah. That you do have to watch it a couple of times, I think, to pick up on all of them. You will miss a few of them as you go through on the first viewing, but such a great script. And I love the story as a whole, and as you go through it with the Doctor. He's
always good at little details, isn't he, Gareth? I have to say. I mean, he does often deliver the more light-hearted episodes, which can be a bit Marmite. But he's always, like I said, even you've got to give the guy credit. He does put in some lovely little touches in his episode. I mean, I didn't realise that Agatha Christie went missing. That whole thing was true, that she went missing for a couple of days, and it's quite a nice way to sort of explain it in terms of a fictional story, bringing in that element, that is true. Yeah. And that works well. Yeah. So, what did you think to the monster in this one and the Vesper form? Well, do you know what? I was surprised. I don't sort of get why it's a giant wasp, but I'm not too worried about it because I kind of like it. It shouldn't work really. I mean, that's my only sort of bugbear with the episode. What's her name? The Lady Agatha? No, Lady Edison. Yeah. So the story is that she's sort of got pregnant many years ago with conceived with this alien who had taken human form, but actually really looks like a giant wasp. Is that right? Yes. I mean, that actually, if you look at it like that, is kind of ridiculous, and it doesn't really work. But in terms of the episode, I think it does. Maybe it's down to the visuals. I like the fact we've got this huge wasp going round, going nuts, and it is quite sort of scary. It's not could easily be laughable, just if you know what I mean. You could if it hadn't have been sort of directed well, it could have just been a joke. To be honest, this giant wasp, but I think it works well, and I think surprisingly, 2008, we're talking 6 years ago. I thought the production values were fantastic. I think the wasp still looks good. It's not amazing. It's not bad. I think it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the actual sets look brilliant. The location they've chose looks great. The lighting good. Just the overall production values of the episode. The costumes that they wear. The music in it. It's all really top notch. I think this is when the show really was, at its sort of top. In terms of the sort of budget and production, it just looks brilliant.
It does look very good, and I agree with the Vesperform stuff. I was confused at first about why it was a giant wasp.
Yeah.
Because he's an alien from another world, and it'd be kind of weird for that world to be populated with wasps.
That's the only bit that I didn't doesn't sit right with me. I wasn't too sure about that.
Well, the first couple of times I watched it, I did think that every time I first saw it, and I thought, why is it a giant wasp? I'm not 100% sure on the effectiveness of that. But then, do you know what? After you've seen it a couple of times, you just forget it.
I think that's it. I think you could sort of, you could sort of, you could concentrate on it, and it would probably, if you thought too much about it, would probably sort of ruin the overall story for you. But if you just go with it, it works well. But you're right.
Well.
I mean, that's the only thing I thought, because I was thinking, because it's kind of explained away pretty quick as well in the flashback, isn't it? Because obviously you don't know about this whole twist that she had a baby, and it's actually this wasp is the baby that's come back to find her, and but yeah, the fact that it's a wasp that can take human form is kind of just glazed over very quickly in a flashback. You know, I met him. He looked like a really handsome young man, and one thing led to another, and obviously I knew he was an alien, but I was madly in love. It's kind of just it's brushed over very quickly, all of that. But it's probably for the best, because I think it does make the story work if you just go with it and take it for what it is. But did you think the actual visuals of the wasp still stood up? Because I thought they did.
Yeah, I thought it was quite well done, actually.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's obviously CGI and stuff, but I think we've seen a lot worse CGI since. I think it still looked pretty decent.
It's strange, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, some of the episodes, actually no, just a couple of the episodes really from Series 8 have looked pretty poor in comparison. I mean, this was done fairly well, and they didn't have to do it this well either, because it was all. The only reason I'm guessing they made it look quite well is because the production costs were quite small on this episode. I'm guessing because it's all filmed just around a stately home somewhere.
Yeah, although some of the rooms, like the bit with the wasp that's coming in, I think are a set.
Yeah.
But they look great. I mean, the lighting and everything, and again, probably a good credit to Graham Harper. It's directed really well. Mm-hmm. The whole lighting and everything, the production values look really high in it, I think.
Yeah, and that's and
I'd like to know where. Sorry.
Yeah, I think they could. I think they could just plough a little bit more money into things like the production and the CGI, because there's no huge visual, physical effects. There's no big explosions. There's no jump into different locations, all that stuff. But were you going to say the location? I'm not sure where it was filmed, actually. I
was just going to say, because I love my locations. I'd like to. I should have looked it up. I'd like to know where it was filmed, actually, because it's a lovely stately home. I'm guessing it's somewhere near Wales, because that's where they're based. But,
it must be.
But it works, and they've got the nice sort of all the old cars, and like I say, the costumes. The actual attention to detail in it is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's very good, actually. I was just thinking back to when the unicorn gets discovered, and it's that girl, and she goes into it. She's talking very posh, isn't she? And then she's like, "Oh, you've rumbled me." I was thinking, that was a little bit cringy, but in terms of humour, it works quite well. And there is some great humour in this episode, actually. It's funny, the bits that probably annoyed me back in 2008 actually really made me laugh now. Like, there's a line about Noddy, isn't there? Noddy doesn't exist or something.
Yeah, Donna,
Which I thought was great. And there's, Donna saying about, you think that's bad, my last husband was a spider or something. There's a scene in there. There's some lovely humour in this.
Yeah.
Gareth Roberts does write good humour, I have to say. And for me, it works well. There isn't any that falls flat or makes me groan.
No,
You know?
no,
Yeah.
the humour was quite cool, and those lines that you're mentioning actually, when Donna says, you know, about going out to meet Noddy. There's a when she's going through that that whole scene with David Tennant, and she's trying to figure out, you know, what's going on. She does say, it's about, you know, it's preposterous as meeting Charles Dickens surrounded by ghosts at Christmas.
Oh yeah,
You know, that's
a
that
nice
went
little
on.
shout back, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that went on to be the Unquiet Dead. That entire, well, as simple as that. That's what happened in that episode. And then when she does reference Rachnos, you know, Empress of Rachnos, the giant spider, that's obviously a hark back to the Runaway Bride.
Yeah.
So there are some little tidbits in there. There are some little bits about other stuff in Doctor Who, but it is fairly isolated. And yeah, I wonder where that was filmed.
I don't know. It's unbelievable that I didn't look it up, because, you know, I love finding locations from TV series, and especially Doctor Who. I'll have a look and
Yeah,
see.
we'll check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
One of the things I did think as well, because the Tennant era was always really full of music. Like there's very little, you know, sometimes the music dominated a bit too much. And there was, you know, it's one of the things I think they improved on in Series 8 is they sort of toned the music down a little bit. And there was a couple of scenes in this where, I mean, the music's great, but there's a couple of scenes, like there's a nice bit where Donna's talking to Agatha Christie outside, and it's got this sort of flowing soundtrack in the background. I was thinking that would have been nice if it was A, quieter, and B, maybe wasn't even there, because this is a nice scene. And this is sort of one of the sort of things about the Tennant era that I remember, is that sometimes there was too much music. It was almost like they felt they needed to underscore the entire episode.
right. Yeah,
And I think that's one of the things they've improved on, actually, big time in Series 8. You know, I mean, this episode's got some lovely music in it, and it all works really well. But it's one of the things that struck me, you know, rewatching the sort of Tennant episodes. I remember that, you know, sometimes the music was just too much, and sometimes drowned out the dialogue in certain other episodes. Not this one. This one wasn't too bad, actually. But
no,
yeah,
no, I
there's
read
not
you.
many quiet moments, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I read you. It's been that way. I think it was, you know, definitely through season 2, right up until season 7. Oh my god!
Season.
Ah,
Get that pound in the
get
jar.
the pound in the jar. Yeah, so
We must have nearly enough for 2 pints by now.
we must do. Yeah, so series 2 to 7 for sure has got loads of music in it, and don't get me wrong, it's beautiful, amazing music. But yeah, there have been times where, you know, it would have been. I think it would have, a certain scene or a conversation would have had a bit more impact with just nothing.
Yeah, because that's a really nice scene between Donna and Agatha Christie when they're just talking about the fact her husband was having an affair and stuff, and
Yeah,
it perhaps just needed to be a bit more subtle. I just found the music sort of flowing strings in the background over what was actually quite a nice little quiet scene, you know. But yeah, still good. We've got a couple two actually little interesting factoids for you.
Shoot.
David Tennant's dad makes a cameo as one of the footmen in this episode. He doesn't say anything; he's just in it.
Alexander MacDonald.
That's it, Alexander MacDonald. Yeah, apparently he visited the set and
cool.
the location that they just put him on. Was it Alexander MacDonald? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's in it, and you know, there's a scene where the Doctor has a flashback where he's sort of in this forest with some arrows on his back. I can't remember what he's chasing. You know, the Doctor has a little flashback.
Oh
scene.
yeah. Yep.
Well, apparently that was later made into a short story, and I did Google it before we recorded, and it is still online, so you can look up. It's called The Lonely Computer, if you're interested. And when I say short story, it is short. It's probably about 2 pages long. But yeah, that little scene, because obviously he has a flashback to an adventure that we know nothing about. It's just a kind of little scene of him chasing something. Yeah, they actually made that into a little short story, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was looking at the viewing figures for this as well, because I was interested to see, you know, as I say, I think we were pretty much at the height of Doctor Who. You know, I think we still are, but I mean, it was on good footing around about this time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it got 8.41 million viewers, according to Wiki, if you can believe that. But yeah, so that's pretty decent viewing figures, I think. 8.41.
That is pretty good.
That's nearly as much as Deep Breath, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
is,
it was a, you know, we were at the height of popularity back then. I think David Tennant definitely brought on board some more viewers. Well, no matter what you think of him, I know some people love him, some people hate him, some just, you know, but he definitely brought on board a lot of popularity.
Yeah. Well, he's my doctor.
He's your doctor, mate. Yeah,
Yeah,
he definitely
for sure.
is. Yeah, and I'm really liking rediscovering him. Actually, I want to go back and watch a lot more of him because I've always liked him, but I wouldn't rate him as my favourite doctor. But I'm certainly loving some of his stories. So yeah.
Yeah. 10 and 4 for me.
10 and 4.
Yeah.
For me, it's 12 and 4 at the minute.
12 and 4.
Before 12, difficult actually because I love Matt's Doctor, but I don't like hardly any of his stories. Well, I like them, but they're not great.
I'm sure Stephen Moffat will be thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, well, let's get an interview with him. Can you do a Stephen Moffat impression? You must be able to.
No, he sounds too boring.
Oh, well, that's that interview out the window then.
That's shot to bits. Yeah.
Yeah, just imagine if he's just strolling on. Oh, I wonder what podcasts are out there. Oh, listen, this one looks good. There's that. Oh, blimey, we've blown a fuse.
Yeah, but no, it's yeah, I agree. I love Matt Smith, and but a lot of his stories were just too. Don't know.
I don't know. They just fell flat a lot of the time for me. You know,
and it was too timey-wimey a lot of it as well.
Big time. That's what I loved about this episode.
Yeah.
Just so straightforward and just just an easy watch.
Mm-hmm. I have to admit though, Capaldi is creeping up. I think he could potentially overtake at some point.
Yeah, well, I think 4 will always be my favourite, but yeah, Capaldi is up there for me. This, I mean, as long as they don't blow it in the next series, but yeah, he certainly is creeping up there.
Sure.
I was just looking to see because this is a story we said before that gets quite a sort of negative reaction sometimes, and we did put it out there to see what other people thought of it. Did you get reaction to it?
Yeah, let's go to the phone lines.
Yeah,
as they used to say. So
like we need some cheesy background music when you say that. Let's go to the
yeah. So I got a tweet in this morning. I put out that we were doing this review, and I had a tweet in from Hoovian Leap. And they said, loved it! ! Cleverly written comedy romp, extremely rewatchable, with excellent cast and performances, great Tennant-Tate rapport. Which I 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I do now, having rewatched it. Yeah, definitely.
You had some peeps on Facebook, right?
I had a couple on Facebook. I had Stephen McCullough, who some listeners may know as Vote Saxon 07 from YouTube. He's a great YouTube reviewer. He said, an enjoyable if fluffy plot, liked the use of humour throughout the story, and the effects are very good on the Vesper form. Have I said that right? Really, this is one of those style over substance episodes from the RTD era, which, I think he's pretty on par there with that.
Yeah.
Nick Riches, it was interesting enough, not seen it in ages. Mark Fitchew, absolutely love it. The Tennant-Tate partnership at its best.
Cool.
I agree with that. I think they are just on top form in this. Really enjoyable watching them together, actually. Make it a lot of fun. Jonathan McEwick, I've probably said that completely wrong. Sorry, Jonathan. Quite forgettable, not the best.
Oh.
Didn't like it.
Yeah.
Ryan Anthony, didn't mind the episode. Loved Series 4. William Stewart, quite like it apart from the monster. The comedy in it, though, is great. So he didn't like The Wasp. Thought the monster was rubbish.
Right.
Owen Salmons just says, didn't like it, not a fan. And Noah Christopher says it's the second least favourite Tennant story, right behind Love and Monsters.
Ooh.
Can't agree with you there, Noah.
Can't agree with that one, mate. Sorry, Noah.
No. But Love and Monsters, there's another one that gets a lot of mixed reaction. That's another one we'll have to revisit, because I don't know your views on that one, but that's a very Marmite episode, isn't it?
Love and Monsters. Is that
the Peter Kay one?
Yeah, the Absorber off.
Yeah,
this is my true form. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool.
Yeah. So a very mixed reaction. Again, a bit of a Marmite episode.
Yeah,
love it.
We knew it divided opinion, this one, but so we had to give it a retro review then. Out of 10, shoot.
A 7.5 for me.
7.5. 7.5 for me.
Is it really? Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you might go higher because I.
Hold on,
I
notes.
know you like it.
Notes. Did I say? Yeah, 7.5.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what I wrote down. So that after the episode, always, because sometimes you sort of start mulling it over, don't you? But no, I wrote fun underlined 7.5 out of 10, and I wrote lovely performance, interesting story, nicely paced, Can't read my writing. Good to see the Doctor. Oh, just arriving and having fun. So yeah, I'm really glad I revisited this story. It was one that I thought I didn't like, or certainly one that I thought was a bit meh. I've totally changed my opinion. I loved it. Really enjoyed rewatching it.
Cool. One thing I have never seen is a toy of the Vesper form.
Do you know? I think there is.
Is there? Oh,
yes.
okay.
I haven't got it. It's Joe, I'm glad you've. Oh, now I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to hide that credit card from myself.
Oh, Joe.
because they did these toys,
right?
And you got a bit of the Vesper form with each toy.
Oh,
so
right.
you would get you'd get a figure of Tennant, for example, the Doctor, and in it you'd get the bottom half of the Vesper form. Then you'd have to buy the Tate figure, and you'd get like the head.
Right.
And so I'm 99% sure that's what you got. I could be wrong. I'm going to look it up straight away as soon as we get off the pod. But I think you did. Yeah, I think you could collect all these figures, and then that formed the Vesper form. If I'm right.
That sounds very cool.
I really want it now. I really want it, and I might. It might not even exist. It might just be in my head, which wouldn't surprise me at all.
Well, let's not go too mad with that. At the end of the day, it is just a wasp.
Yeah, true. A giant wasp.
A giant wasp at that.
Yeah. I just got to say very quickly as well, that bit where the vicar obviously turns out to be the Vesper form, and he's doing this because he's been in a few things, isn't he? That guy, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
That's so fair. It did make me laugh. It's the sort of thing I do to my partner just to sort of really, drive them mad, just to annoy them.
He had a very cool name. He's played that guy. The actor is Tom Goodman Hill.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah,
yep.
And he plays Reverend Go Lightly.
Very cool.
Very cool indeed. Yeah. So thank you all very much for tweeting and Facebooking. We do. This is a weekly podcast, but we normally decide fairly on in the week what episode we're going to review. Especially now, there's no current Who on TV. We're going to go back and just pick an episode all the way from Hartnell through to Smith. So just keep your eyes peeled to Twitter and Facebook, because we'll announce it at some point during the week which one we're going to review, and we'd really love your thoughts as you've been doing. So just keep those coming in. That's very cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, love hearing from you guys.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, and I think that's going to wrap for episode 20.
Yeah.
So we are done with episode 20. It's been really cool talking through Unicorn, and a lot more enjoyable than I thought it was going to be.
Definitely. Yeah. Glad we revisited it.
Yeah, it's been very cool, and it's one of those episodes that I'm so glad you suggested, because we could have gone with some of the really big popular ones that a lot of people maybe would expect us to go for. So that was very cool to dig out one that is maybe not as popular as people would like it to have been, but yeah, Unicorn and the Wasp, 7.5.
Yeah, and give it another watch if you're not sure about it or you don't think you like it. Give it another go.
Absolutely.
Maybe on a Sunday.
Stick it on.
Yeah.
So this is the Big Blue Box podcast. Thank you very much for joining us. Head over to the website, which is just bigblueboxpodcast.co.uk. From there you can find links to the Twitter account and Facebook, so jump on those and give us a like and a follow. If you subscribe in iTunes, which I hope you do, would you do us a favour and leave us a review and a rating? That's really helpful for us. It pushes us up a couple of notches up the iTunes listing, which is very cool. And also check out the Geek's Handbag, which is Adam's video vlog, where he reviews all sorts of cool stuff, sci-fi, cool products and stuff that he shouldn't be buying.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, check it out now before my partner closes it down.
Exactly. We will see you next time. This is Gary.
This is Adam. Thanks for listening.
And we'll see you next time. Allons-y!